Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our NBA video for Wednesday, November 10th. It's a 13 game slate. It's a doozy. And I know when you check when your games are done for the night and you check the next day or the next contest to see what it's looking like and you see a 13 game slate, you'll take a deep breath. It's like starting a puzzle, a 1,000 piece puzzle, 2,000 piece puzzle. You know, eventually you'll get to it, but it's going to take a minute. So, we're going to dive in piece by piece. No need to let it overwhelm you. Because at the end of the day, once you get close to the lock, somebody's not going to play, somebody's going to catch COVID, somebody's going to be injured, and then you're going to get your value. But the thing is, you got to start somewhere. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start to tear down this 13 game slate, and we'll build a core, and then once news start coming in later on today, then we'll adjust and go as we go. But I'll tell you right off top, some of these prices are ridiculous. Ridiculously high. So if you're new here, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we drop videos. Thumbs up the video if this video is informative to you. If it helps you in any way, thumbs up, let YouTube know that I'm trying to help you, and that helps me by circulating the video to other viewers. So enough with the chit chat. Let's jump into point guard. So you know how it goes. Seth Curry against Minnesota, he's in a good spot. Minnesota's point guard defense isn't good. You're gonna need about 60 fantasy points to pay this off from Curry. Can he do it again? Yes. Do you want to start off a 13 game slate with $11,700 player? No. So Luka, same thing. He's facing Chicago. He's gonna need about 60 fantasy points. I don't think he's gonna get that against Chicago. He's averaging 48. I don't think he's gonna get extra fantasy points in Chicago. That's not what they do. Westbrook against Miami, 11-3. He's gonna need about 57, 58 fantasy points. Not happening. Harden, same boat. He's gonna need about 50 fantasy points. He's gonna need about 50 fantasy points. Yeah, he's gonna need more than 50 fantasy points. 5 times value is 50. He's gonna need about 54 fantasy points. I don't think he's hit value. I don't think he's hit 54 all year. 52, 44, 48, 54, 35. 14 points. 8 assists. 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, 1 steal. That's what Chicago does to you. So if you think Luka's going to go in Chicago and drop 60 fantasy points, you're out of your mind. Lillard, no. Lillard's not even in the top tier of point guards. I don't know why he's still priced like it. Lillard is barely giving you more fantasy points than Shai Gilgeous. I'll put it like that. LaMelo could pay this off. He's gonna need 50 fantasy points. Same thing with Ja. Devin Booker. DeJounte Murray is in the same boat. DeJounte Murray, his last 3 games is 51, 52, and 40 fantasy points. So he does hover around the 50s. He's been more active this year on San Antonio. 9-7. He needs about a 50 to pay this off. He's in consideration. Chris Paul, He needs about 45 fantasy points to pay off his price tag. He's in consideration. McCollum, I have McCollum tonight. He was 7,000. McCollum jumped 85, 1,500 points, 1,500 salary after a bad game. Go figure. De'Aaron Fox, same old, same old. I'd rather play Cole Anthony than De'Aaron Fox. Cole Anthony is averaging 5 more fantasy points than De'Aaron Fox. Go figure. Van Fleet, with everybody healthy, I'm good. Brogdon, we don't know what he's doing. Russell, hit or miss. He is at a good price. You need 35 to pay him off. Kobe White, not touching him. They should trade him. Lonzo's not getting the same shots as he did in New Orleans. Levine and DeRozan and Vooch comes before him, so he's not really going to pay this off. He needs like 35 fantasy points to pay this off. Between like 32 and 35. He's averaging 30, but some games he has duds. Garland with no Sexton. 6'6", he needs about 32, 33 fantasy points. Against Washington, he's viable. Dinwiddie's viable. Drew Holiday went to bed tonight. I'm good. RJ Barrett can give you 55 fantasy points or 14 fantasy points. I'm good. Same thing with Derek White. Jordan Poole is in play. He's been pretty consistent, and Minnesota plays no defense. So you got Poole. Rose is not as consistent. Graham isn't as consistent. I haven't played Graham all year. It's not even Graham, it's his team. Graham's been giving us 31, 27, 25 fantasy points. That's not going to cut it. The player I'm picking first is Rubio with no Sexton. $5,200. You know what Rubio does when he's given 30 plus minutes. If you don't know what Rubio does, let me know you. 25 minutes, 23 fantasy points. Hold on. Let me get you the games where he played real minutes. 28 minutes, 36 fantasy points. 35 minutes, 44 fantasy points. 25 minutes, 27 fantasy points. 32, 37 fantasy points. 25, 23 fantasy points. 31 minutes, 61 fantasy points. Ricky Rubio, 5,200. You'll take 27, 28 fantasy points. But he can give you way more than that. So that's why you're picking Rubio. You're picking up players that have an upside, have a ceiling. If they don't have a ceiling, why play them? Because you need them to go over their projections to win. Shooting guard. Booker, Bill. Anthony Edwards is always at play at 8K. Van Fleet can be in play at 7,600 against Boston. That's going to be a tough matchup. It's going to be hard for him to pay off his price tag with that hard matchup. And then on top of that, you got to feed Siakam, you got to feed Barnes, you got to feed OG, you got to feed Trent. So we're good. Zach LaVine, this is an awesome price. 7,600 for Zach LaVine. He's averaging 41 fantasy points. 7,600. All you need from him is about 38 fantasy points. He's averaging more. These are the plays you gotta look for. Zach LaVine is actually, he wasn't in my initial build, but he's too cheap. Durant is damn near 11K. What does that mean? That means you will take 55 fantasy points, but you need 66. Good luck with that. He can give it to you, but what's the probability that he drops 66 fantasy points against Orlando? That's what you got to say to yourself. Tatum is 10-4 against Toronto. No way. Butler 9-6. Very good price. LA plays no defense. Miami, Butler is a Laker killer. He's in play. He was actually in my initial build until I realized Zach LaVine was too cheap. Bridges, my guy, he had a bad game. Looking for him to bounce back. He's always in play. Anthony Edwards again. OG with Siakam and Barnes. I don't know if I'm paying $8K for him. You need 40 fantasy points minimum. LeVert is not worth his 7,500. He hasn't been. He's been giving you about roughly 30 fantasy points on a good day. When his price drops, we'll talk. Harrison Barnes is cheaper than him, averaging 10 more fantasy points. I don't know who does the pricing, but Harrison Barnes is in play. If you've been playing DFS all year, you know Harrison Barnes has been consistent. Probably the best player on Sacramento this year, and he's priced like a bitch. I don't know why. Whatever. Scotty Barnes is worth 6,900. Scotty Barnes does everything. Plays defense, grabs boards, passes, runs the floor, finishes. Scotty Barnes is always in play. Actually, no, I'm not going to put him in this lineup. The person I put in this lineup is Will Barton. When you have a 13-game lineup, you need an edge. You need to say to yourself, damn, where do I start? Alright, so go to the injuries. Go to the newest injuries and go to the biggest star with the newest injuries. And what's going to happen there? That means that these sites aren't going to be priced up for this new injury. So Jokic just got suspended one game. That means Denver is priced. That means Denver is priced as if Jokic is playing. That's how you attack this slate. Will Barton, as of right now, is a must play. He's going to take majority of the shots. Everything's going to go through him. Now you got to say to yourself, who's going to start and who's going to play for Jokic? So, who's going to play for Jokic? If you play DFS every day, you know this answer off the top of your head. If you don't know this answer off the top of your head, well then that's why I'm here. You're playing Jeff Green tomorrow. Unless for some reason some craziness happens and some other kind of value pops up, you're playing Jeff Green. He's going to most likely start at center, and he's going to give you high 20s, 30 minutes, and Jeff Green's another guy that does everything. So, if you remember him from Brooklyn last year, if you remember him from all the other teams he played for all his career, when Jeff Green starts and he gets minutes, Jeff Green is a high point per minute player. You're playing Jeff Green at 3,400 because that's where your value is at. We have some money left over. Originally, I did have Butler, but LaVine helped save me a little bit of money. So at center, Giannis is 12-3. You guys know what that means at 12-3. This is the first thing to DFS. Before you guys start talking about not you guys, not my guys, because you guys know what you're doing. But there's some people like on Twitter, they be like, I'm fading this, I'm fading that. The ownership this, the ownership that. You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. First, you gotta look at is the price and what you'll need to pay off that salary. I keep saying this, but you know, you gotta make sure you let people understand what you're saying. At 12,300 for Giannis not to be a bust, you need 61.5 fantasy points for him not to be a bust. He just scored 60-something fantasy points. He's on the back-to-back. For Giannis to be useful to you at 12,300, he needs 73.8 fantasy points. That's 6 times value on a back-to-back against New York, who has a slower pace. Giannis is a strong fade. Jokic 11-8 out. AD. I'm not playing AD. Cat 10-7. What do you need from Cat? You need 53.5 fantasy points. He's averaging 46. There's nobody to stop him in Golden State. That's a very, very, very attainable task. The question is, do you want to pay up for Cat? That's the question of the day. You got Randall. You're gonna need 10 plus. You're gonna need 50 plus fantasy points. The same thing with the bonus. Yeah, they got everybody priced up like tomorrow's the end of the world or something. Christian Wood wet the bed last game. Valanciunas at 9-1. If Ingram does not play, there's nobody on OKC that's gonna stop Valanciunas. He becomes a very good play at 9-1. You'll take 45 fantasy points. You need 54. Al Horford is 8,000 now. Al Horford is priced the same amount as Bam. In that price range, I'll take Jared Allen with no Kevin Love and no marketing. We have 6,000 left. You got Mobley right under him. And Nurkic is unplayable because of his minutes. If you take Nurkic and you go to guard, you go back to guard. I mean, Kyrie's in his bag. He's probably gonna light up Minnesota. But what do you need from him? You'll take 58 fantasy points. You're gonna need more than that though. I'm gonna have to fade Kyrie tonight. He's gonna need too many points, and he's gonna need over 60 fantasy points again. I'll probably go Edwards. Because Edwards plays both sides of the ball. Obviously he takes a lot of shots, he plays a lot of minutes, and he puts up a lot of effort on defense. We get you stocks, steals, and blocks, and that's what you're looking for at 8K. What happens is, if he has a bad shooting game, he'll still give you a good effort and still you'll still be able to be, you'll still be able to cash because he doesn't rely only on points. Look, 7 of 22, 3 of 12 from threes, 33 fantasy points. That's what I'm talking about. So his floor is like 30 fantasy points, 33. He plays his last 5 games. He's played 34, 37, 38, 30, 38, 32, and 43 minutes. This is the type of guy you want. Somebody that's going to play a lot of minutes and take a lot of shots and give you effort on the defensive side. And his price isn't moving. 8K is a good price for Edwards. I'm going to leave it there for Draftkings because you have more than enough options and values to start your slate for tomorrow, start your roster for tomorrow. But like I said, 13-game slate, once you start breaking it down, you start with the injuries, it gets easier and easier. And once you start fading the players that are too high, then your options get more clearer. I haven't even looked at the Fanduel slate yet, but Look at Curry, 10-2. That's a stupid price. Look, that's automatic. That's a lock. You take 50 fantasy points. You'll take about 51 fantasy points against Minnesota. Easily attainable. See how quick that was? Draftkings wants to be difficult. Not touching Westbrook. Bradley Beal 8,900. DeRozan 85. Van Fleet. Zach LaVine is too cheap, 8,000. Anthony Edwards, another cheap one. Giannis at 11.5. It's not bad. For $1,000 left, I'll play Durant because they're gonna need to rely on him heavily. And Orlando isn't the same Orlando from last year. They're pretty feisty, so looking for a close game. 10-5 from Durant. You're gonna need a little bit over 50 for him to pay that off. But with all the value, especially from Jeff Green, let's see how much Jeff Green is today. $3,700. So that's your value. That leaves us with 5,500. And Anthony Davis, 10-8. Cat, 9-8 against Golden State. I would play Cat because of the matchup, and it's $1,000 less. Sabonis, Valanciunas. Valanciunas is a good play. Valanciunas is 8,500. Let's see how much we have left. We have 47. 47. You could probably slide in one or two more pieces from Denver and get a little bit of value. You're gonna have to play Aaron Gordon, Dozier, maybe Trey Michael Green. So yeah, that's gonna be the first look values. Everybody from the starting line from Denver, the main pieces from Denver. You know who they are. But I'm sure we'll get more news as the day progresses. But these are the 5 that I would start my call with. Valanciunas because of the price in the matchup. Jeff Green because he's gonna start for Jokic and he's 3,700. Durant because the volume and his minutes. LaVine because of his price and he's averaging 40 fantasy point. And Curry, cause you know he's hot and he's gonna continue doing what he just did. And Minnesota can't stop a cold, so that's gonna be my main 5 for Fanduel. And we'll run through Superdraft real quick, cause we know it's a lot. We'll do not touching McCollum today. Cole Anthony Edwards. I'll do Anthony Edwards. I'll do Will Barton. Jordan Poole 155. Norman Powell. Norman Powell's been hot. We can't deny that. Grayson Allen's been decent also. Bane is still. I don't know why these guys are still down here. Dozier 1.75. He might start tomorrow. If Dozier starts, we'll play Dozier for Superdraft. If he doesn't start, we'll take him out. We got forward now, and on top of that, Aiton is out again tomorrow, but I'm not going to plug in McGee or Kaminsky. Looks like they're sharing minutes. On a 13-game slate, you're going to want more than people sharing minutes. You're going to want people playing 30-plus minutes. Portis starts, he's a good play. And they're probably not even going to have Nerlens Noel to stop him. Okay, he's another bitch. Crowder, Scotty Barnes at a 1.5. Scotty Barnes is the real deal. I'll play him 1.5. Jeremy Grant, Turner's another one that's been playing out of his mind. You know what? I'm feeling frisky. Who are they playing? Turner. They're playing Denver with no Jokic. Yep, I'll take Turner. And for center, we'll take... Who are we taking? Like I said, I need somebody that's going to play a lot of minutes. Not share them. I'm going to go up to one of the big boys. We could do Josh Allen. Let's do Valanciunas 1.2. Let's try to do Cat 1.1. I'm going to do Cat for now. Ain't nobody stopping him in Golden State. So you got Edwards at a 1.35, Barton 1.45, Dozier 1.75 if he starts, Portis 1.55 if he starts, Scotty Barnes 1.5, Miles Turner 1.45, Karl-Anthony Towns 1.1. Nobody in Golden State's going to stop him. Alright, so that's going to be the end of the video. Obviously, we'll update the chat once we get more news. This is a little bit of a long video. I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. I think that's about it. If you're new, hit the bell so you know when we drop our NBA videos. Subscribe so you're in the loop. Thumbs up the video. That helps me. That shows that you appreciate what I'm doing, and that helps YouTube circulate the videos so we could grow our DFS team. That's all. Been here long enough. I know you guys got things to do. Appreciate you. Good luck, and I'll talk to you later. Ciao.